Great to be back home. It felt like we were gone for a month. And you're out in paradise, and everyone in your group's having a great time, and the coaches and players are all zoned in on going down there to play. And obviously, the guys were tremendous. Our upperclassmen, their off-season work and preparation has allowed them to start this season off the right way. And it's been fun to be a part of. It's been fun to watch those kids grow and go out there and compete and beat some real good basketball teams.
Frank, how pleased were you not only with the 3 wins, but the seniors really took over and carried you guys during those 3 games? How pleasing was that to see?
Yeah, it's you look at the start to our season, the 5 teams we've played, they're all high-powered offensive teams that are led by seniors. And let's go through this together. I could be wrong, but I think Norfolk State is picked to win their league. I think Oral Roberts, if not picked to win their league, they're up there. DePaul obviously is coming off, coaching change, but they're a senior-led team that was expected to have a real good year last year that didn't work out. Hofstra picked to win their league. And by the way, every one of these teams has the player of their league, preseason player of the league on their team. And then Tulsa, same thing. And they're not picked to win their league, but I think they're picked second behind SMU, if I'm not mistaken. And they've got the players of the week in their league in back-to-back weeks. So their teams are playing well, that are senior-led, and watching our guys go out there and perform. And Andy Demetra said something to me after the game, which the championship game. He said, I'm not real good with some of these things. I believe he said we trailed for only 38 seconds the whole tournament. I think that's pretty remarkable when you're playing the kind of senior-led offensive firepower teams that we played against.
Kind of the same thing. You talked about coming into the year, as a coach, you're really excited to see Sindarius Thornwell where he was, and then through the first 5 games and being named MVP of the tournament. What are your opinions of his play so far?
I think that's why you're seeing those 3 frontline guys playing so well, is because he's playing so well. He started off the championship game with back-to-back threes, and that's coming. That's the part of the game that's coming. But his assists to turnovers, if you remember what his assists to turnovers were as a freshman, it was scary. And to see where he's at now, and you're talking about a guy that the semifinal game grabs 9 rebounds, has 6 assists. In the championship game when we had to have a couple of baskets, we ran stuff and kind of spaced the floor, and he drove and created fouls and got to the foul line and made free throws. It's a time of game where you can't have empty possessions because the other team is so good offensively that they're probably going to get a basket. And but Sin has been phenomenal. His mindset, his spirit, his leadership. He's been phenomenal, and I'm real proud of him and real happy for it. It's understand now we're 1/6 of the way into this whole thing, but if he can maintain what he's doing, not statistically, forget about all that stuff. That stuff's nonsense. What he's doing as far as an everyday approach, preparation, enthusiasm, excitement, growth, he's going to have a heck of a year for himself and obviously for us.
Frank, X's and O's wise, what are these guys doing better? What do you see when you look out there? What area has really kind of improved the most to you so far right now?
Just they've been through it. You know, Pete, everyone thinks that you show up somewhere and because you scored 20 points a game in high school, that means you're going to score 20 points a game in college. It doesn't work that way. It's players buying into a system, coaches being around the players so they can understand their talents, so they can try and build a system that fits their talents. Players' willingness to grow and work and improve. I think, I'm going to use Limonis as an example. Think about Limonis. Limonis was a kid that couldn't stay up and down the court, but for a minute as a freshman, that was allergic to the paint. I mean, he would not go in there. Now with the game on the line, we're running play after play after play, and he wasn't going against a 5'8" guy. He was going against, Hofstra's Lithuanian, who's a 6'9", 260-pound guy. The double-headed center that Tulsa uses. One's a 6'9", 250-pound guy. The other one's a 6'9", 235-pound guy that's long and athletic. Those are the guys that he was going against. And we're running stuff with the game on the line to get him post-ups, and he's getting it done. There was we ran a play late in the Tulsa game, and he did his job. Our guys did their jobs, execution-wise. They understand. They know the players know what the coach wants, and the coach, because he's coached them for so long, knows who's got the feel to go attack. And one of my assistants said, their center has 4 fouls. Go at him. And I said, absolutely, that's their job to talk to me during the game. And so we ran a play, and Limonis had a point-blank layup, and the guy with 4 fouls gets out of the way because he doesn't want to foul out, and he misses a layup. And there's a time, and then they go down 3-point play. Instead of us going up 10, now we're in a 5-point game, and there's a timeout. And I got after him pretty good. And in the past, he would have dropped his head and wilted in the moment. And after I got after him, I said to him, and here's the problem. I'm running another play right back for you. So let's see what you got. And he went out. Not only did he score, he scored through defense, came down, ran another play for him, scored again. Then we ran another play for him, and he got fouled and made 2 free throws. And that's the as a coach, you understand your players better. They understand you, and the guys are totally consumed in improving and helping and growing, and that's where we're at.
Franco, you spoke a lot last year after you guys won 7, beat Iowa State. Things didn't go so well at the beginning of January, and you said it was a bad month. Do you talk to your guys about, not getting the big head with such a nice start and reference that from last year?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not big on talking about outside expectations. I'm not big about, hey, we got to go win that game if you want to play in this. I'm not into all that stuff. I'm into using past experiences to help prepare for the future. So we understand how to handle today better. And that's something that, we talked about after the game. The older guys understand. We got 25 more games to play, at least. They understand, when I brought it up, that we did some good things last year, and then we put ourselves in a bad place. I could be wrong. They're 20 years old. Heck, when I was 20 years old, I figured out a way to mess everything I was a part of up. And we got to help them. But I'll be surprised if they fall in the same trap.
Just can you talk about moving, or a guy like Dwayne, but in particular your time as a coach, when you see a guy go from a starter to a sixth man, how difficult that can be for that guy, and then also how Dwayne has kind of handled it in your eyes?
It's difficult for selfish people. It's difficult for the society that we've created where everybody wants to be a 5-star or be ranked. Seriously, who cares where you're ranked as an individual player? But if your claim to fame is a ranking, what good's that going to do for you? when you build a program, those are the last things that you're concerned about. You're concerned about building people that want to sacrifice for each other, that want to do their part for the success of the whole. And our guys are committed to that. Dwayne's unbelievable. You know, Michael Carrera, Michael did it last year. Michael could be playing better than anyone on our team right now if you kind of pay attention. And last year, I asked him to come off the bench, you know, and it's when you got guys, when you got to recruit the right guys, and then when they get here, you have to really spend time with them to make them understand, to deprogram them from the culture that we've created in society where it's about them, and to reprogram them that it's about us. Because the last time I checked in life, it's not about you or me. It's about all of us. So in an effort to prepare them for that stage of their life, we have to deprogram them from what they've been made to understand, which is all about me. How many followers do I have? How popular am I? How can I make a statement that can get public notoriety to make me more popular? You have to deprogram them from all that nonsense that we've created with our youth today. And they don't know any better. They think that's cool, and the adults are the ones that kind of fuel that fire. But our staff has done a great job identifying the right guys to build this program with. Think about the example that those freshmen that are sitting there right now are learning, watching the Michaels and the Senderises and the Dwaynes and the Mendogas of the world, how selfless they are, how much they care about the guy next to them, and how little they all care about themselves. We're human beings. We can't help anybody if we don't help ourselves first. But what matters to them is the success of the whole, not just me, me, me. And Dwayne should be commended on that because he's him, Michael, all those guys. Mendogas, there's a time when I was bringing Mendogas off the bench, and I'm telling you this, no one on our team has worked harder than Mendogas. And he's willing to take a step back if that's what I feel is best for the basketball team. And those freshmen have great examples in front of them and those guys to learn from every day.
Kind of along those lines, you just got back Virgin Islands. You got to play day after Thanksgiving on Friday. It's kind of a two-parter. How tough is it, you know, keeping everybody focused, number one, and what does Lipscomb bring to the fold when they come in here on Friday?
If we didn't have such great fans, I think I'd petition Ray Tanner to see if we can just be based out of St. Thomas and play, watch film poolside. Lipscomb's good. Once again, another team that's got it's unbelievable. You sit around and you hear all this about how unskilled our players are right now. And every team we play is just a plethora of shooters on the floor. Lipscomb is right along those lines. Look at their stats. They absolutely take advantage of that three-point line. And they do it from spots 1 through 4. A little different than the other teams we've played. The other teams we've played have been more run their offense, kind of create space by running, and they attack you, and then they come at you off the dribble. Lipscomb's coming at you off cuts and screens. So our off-ball defense has to be incredible. And these are all things that are preparing us for our team to continue to grow as we move forward. These are great challenges. Lipscomb, once again, I think is a good basketball team. I'm sitting there watching them on film. I know they've had a couple losses. I don't think they've played a home game yet. You know, it's hard to win when you're on the road all the time. They space you. They run. They set great screens, and their cuts are just. You want to watch a fun team play basketball? Come to the game on Friday. The way they try to play, it's fun. I can tell, as a coach, it's fun to watch because it's, they might not have the great off the dribble guys, but they pressure the rim through their cuts, and that makes you absorb if you're not good off the ball. And when you absorb, they will always pass it to the open guy, and that guy always shoots the ball. And it's unbelievable. It's going to be another challenge for our team, completely different than the ones we've had.
Frank, how do you think the freshmen have handled the quick turnarounds, 5 games in 10 days 3 games in 4 days. How about it?
Yeah, I think they freaked out a little bit, you know, and I told them while we're in St. Thomas that, you know, that's the popular theme with young players is that you got to put them in games. How are they going to get better if they don't play? And when they don't know what they're doing, all they do is mess up the game, and that's not a negative. It's just the walk of all of our lives, and when you're playing teams that are senior led, they tend to attack your freshmen, which then makes them feel bad. I don't know if bad's the word, but it makes them not have the confidence to play as fast as they can. Freshmen get better in practice. Okay, that's where they get better. That's where they get repetitions. That's where they get taught. That's where when they make a mistake, the world doesn't see it. It's between us, and we can teach them and to pull them aside and say, listen, this is what you did. That's why they exposed you. Do it again. Don't make that mistake. That's where they learn and get better. That's where they gain their confidence to be able to go in a game and then be aggressive in what they're trying to do. They were awesome. For the fact that I ended up trusting in the older guys a little bit more from a minute standpoint, because I felt that what was necessary this weekend, they were awesome. They went out there and did what they were asked. PJ started playing more aggressively, which I was happy to see. Chris didn't play all that great, but he played with tremendous enthusiasm. Eric gave us real good moments. The problem with Eric was that you're playing like Hofstra played 5 guards for a huge segment of the second half because they couldn't run any offense in the first half. And they put 5 guards out there, it makes it hard for Eric to get out there and guard. And you can say, well, you can go zone. Yeah, when they put 5 guards and all 5 shoot the 3, eventually he's not going to be standing under the rim. He's going to have to go guard somebody. And that's it made it hard for him. And then the other guys that haven't played, you know, as much as they'd want, you know, they were awesome. Their spirit, I told them after the game, their resolve on that bench, because I've been on benches here at this school where you're out there fighting and the guys on the bench are just sitting there staring into space, and they just can't wait for the game to be over. That was not the case. Those kids were in tune. They were high-fiving their teammates. They were phenomenal in the timeouts. And they were just as happy as the guys that played the 35 minutes to help us win.
Frank, you mentioned how Lamo's kind of gone through a lot of other, you know, big physical centers to play as well as he has this year. Lipscomb's got a guy that's 7'2", checking in, starting at center. So how do you think that will be a challenge for Lamo?
Yeah, it's good. It's good for him. Good for him. It should be another experience for him to continue to build confidence that all the work that he's put in, that he can do good things. And all those are all great moments for him, I believe. And he's worked real hard, and he's accepted coaching. And when you see people accept coaching and be so committed to getting better, then you want them, when they get their moment, to take advantage of it to the fullest. And he's kind of in that moment right now. And he's becoming an anchor on our team. He really has. He needs to rebound better. I don't know how. I've told him, I said, Lamo, making you run, screaming at you, all that, you're a senior, man. We're past those days. We can't still be doing that. You know, you have to go rebound the basketball. He's improved his conditioning. He's improved his defense. That's still not where it needs to be, but he's gotten better. Obviously, offensively, he's gotten better. He's gotten stronger. You know, Dave, funny how that works. He's worked on all those things. Now when he shoots a 3, I don't take him out of the game. You know, funny how a stubborn old coach actually gives in to a player a little bit when he does his part. But he's got to rebound it better. But this will be a good test for him. All right, guys.